The debate began with the two candidates awkwardly refusing to shake hands. Donald Trump spent the next hour and a half fighting his way out of a political corner and looking like a man with very little left to lose. So, Joe, we'll start off with you. What did you think?
Well, I think despite what you think of Donald Trump, what you think of Hillary Clinton, what you think of how this race has gone over the weekend, and where you think it's going to end up, whether you think last night made any difference at all to the final outcome in November. I think there are a couple of things that people in the press may not want to admit, but it was plainly evident watching it on TV last night. Number one, it was Donald Trump's most effective debate performance to date. There's not a close second. Just not a close second. Secondly, despite the fact she had an unprecedented cheering section of the media, the fact is, for somebody watching, and people will see this if they go back and watch it again today, or if they see parts of it a week from now or a month from now, Hillary Clinton was on the defensive most of the night. She seemed unsure of herself most of the night. And he dominated the second debate in the same way she dominated the first debate. And third, and I think most importantly for this political season, Donald Trump, who has made the Republican Party members' lives living and breathing hells for the past year and a half, last night turned it up to 11. And all of those people that jumped ship about halfway through the debate were looking at their TV saying, oh, shoot. Because and again, I know everybody in the press hates Donald Trump, and I'm just giving you reality. If you don't like it,
what he said was horrible.
Yeah, he's horrible. Blah blah blah. I know. Listen,
horrible.
I heard it last night. I saw it on Twitter. I understand. You believe he's an evil man. I'm just giving you the political reality, and this is the political reality. That for the Republican base, Donald Trump delivered the attack against the Clinton machine that the Republican base in Middle America have been waiting for years now. And so good luck being in Pensacola, Florida, saying, hey, I'm off of Donald Trump, or saying in Kansas, oh, I'm not going to be for Donald Trump anymore, especially when no Republican in America should have been surprised by what they heard on Friday.
And no Republican in America could have done what he did last night. They just, oh my God, it was epic. It was vintage Trump. He produced a day-long show that rocked the political world. Take a look at
with his back against the wall.
Oh, yeah.
If I win, I am going to instruct my Attorney General to get a special prosecutor to look into your situation, because there has never been so many lies, so much deception. There has never been anything like this, where emails and you get a subpoena, and after getting the subpoena, you delete 33,000 emails. So we're going to get a special prosecutor, and we're going to look into it, because you know what? People have been, their lives have been destroyed for doing 1/5 of what you've done, and it's a disgrace. And honestly, you ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Secretary Clinton, I want to follow up on that. I'm going to let you talk about email.
Because everything he just said is absolutely false, but I'm not surprised.
Really?
It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Yeah, because you'd be in jail.
Secretary Clinton.
Now she's blaming, she got caught in a total lie. Her papers went out to all her friends at the banks, Goldman Sachs and everybody else, and she said things, WikiLeaks, that just came out, and she lied. Now she's blaming the lie on the late, great Abraham Lincoln. That's one that I haven't. Okay, Honest Abe. Honest Abe never lied. That's the good thing. That's the big difference between Abraham Lincoln and you. That's a big, big difference. We're talking about some difference. She complains that Donald Trump took advantage of the tax code. Well, why didn't she change it? Why didn't you change it when you were a senator? I've heard Hillary complaining about so many different things over the years. Oh, we should have done this. But she's been there for 30 years. She's been doing this stuff. She never changed, and she never will change.
Even the moderators were not spared from Trump's attacks.
I'd like to know, Anderson, why aren't you bringing up the emails? I'd like to know. Why aren't you
getting
brought up
to the
emails?
bottom?
No, it hasn't. It hasn't. And it hasn't been finished at all.
Ken Carpowitz has a question.
It's nice to 1 on 3.
We're going to move on to Syria. Both of you have mentioned that.
She said a lot of things. I mean, I think we should be allowed to maybe
Mr. Trump, we're going to go on. This is about the audience.
Disaster as a senator.
Mr. Trump, we're going to move on.
I was against,
and you can see it.
I was against the war in Iraq. Has not been debunked. And you voted for it, and you shouldn't have. Well, I just want to
There's been lots of fact-checking on that. I'd like to move on to an online question.
She just went about 25 seconds over her time. Could I just respond to this, please?
Very quickly, please. Going to move on.
Funny, she went over a minute over, and you don't stop her. When I go 1 second over, it's like
you had many answers.
It's really very interesting.
We've got a question.
Hillary Clinton wants to allow.
And why did it morph into that? No, did you? No, answer the question. Do you still believe?
I do. Me all the time. Why don't you interrupt her?
Would you please explain whether or not the Muslim ban still stands?
It's called extreme vetting.
Okay, with us we have former communications director for President George W. Bush, Nicole Wallace, who has been up all night. You be careful now, Nicole.
Boy, she's already said
Chair
some
of the
things.
Department of African American Studies at Princeton University and columnist for Time Magazine, Eddie Cloud Jr., and the managing editor of Bloomberg Politics, co-host of With All Due Respect, Mark Halperin, joins Willie, Joe, and me.
Willie, what was your takeaway on just a mind-blowing night politically?
It was mind-blowing, something I think we're all still processing, that was a presidential debate unlike anything we've ever seen.
Unbelievable.
I learned in my 20s not to get into a bar fight with a guy who has nothing to lose.
Exactly.
Never do that.
Donald Trump had nothing to lose. He stripped away any pretense of being a politician, any pretense of civility, and said, I'm throwing everything at her. I agree. I actually texted this to Nicole last night. I said, this performance by Trump tonight is a fantasy come true for people who haven't liked Hillary Clinton for 25, 30 years.
And Bill Clinton.
Bill Clinton. He got to stand on a stage and say all the things they've been saying and emailing to each other that you know very well for a generation. Now, I don't think that wins him any new voters. I think it talks to the people who already loved him and were cheering him on. I saw it on Twitter. I was getting texts. The campaign was thrilled with his performance.
So, but what does that do? And this is really the bottom line. What is the net effect of that? It stops the bleeding. And a lot of those people that jumped ship this weekend are having to answer phone calls all day today from their Republican base, telling them that they're weasels and they need to get back on board.
Remember, there was talk he wasn't even going to show up last night. There was talk he was going to get out of the race, as many people asked for him to do. He's now stabilized, but where he was, which was losing the race. I don't think this helps him win and become president, but he's not going anywhere.
Beware the man with nothing to lose is what I tweeted yesterday afternoon. It's what Willie was talking about as far as the bar
beware
fight goes.
Beware the woman without any sleep.
And beware the woman without any sleep. We've already learned that off camera this morning. Your reaction to the debate, and, and most importantly, what does it mean moving forward?
In disclosure, we were talking throughout the whole thing. I think we saw it in real time very differently. I think I was incapable of shaking. I don't think I can process Trump in an event setting because it's never just the event. He gives a speech and we go on and we analyze the speech, but then by 8 o'clock he said something more outrageous to undermine it or contradict it by 8, and then by 3 in the morning he's done something else. So in isolation, the 90 minutes did represent the net effect of Kellyanne Conway and Chris Christie and Rudy Giuliani and others impressing upon him the need to prep. I think what you saw was someone who had done real prep, not at a podium per se, but with someone playing Hillary Clinton, someone playing a moderator, and preparing to answer questions for 90 minutes. They feel like they had to teach him how to pivot after the first debate, and I think that operation was largely successful. Pivot he did. But he went in there way behind, and I think he is still behind in this race. And the kinds of people that he needed to win over were the ones that were repulsed by his talk about grabbing the P word. I don't think the people that are repulsed by his talking about grabbing the P word were turned around back in his favor last night. There might be people who are
emboldened, Joe.
Well, yeah, no, I think, again, the net effect last night was it was triage. He was bleeding out. His campaign was coming to an end. Everybody was talking about Billy Bush, Mark Halperin. Everybody was talking about him getting out of the race. Ain't nobody talking about Billy Bush this morning. And nobody. Last night, everybody was talking about, well, what are they going to do? Subsection E of the Republican rules allow Donald Trump to... That's not happening. So he's still in the race, and you're in Indianapolis, where Mike Pence has spent quite a bit of time. And Mike Pence was a guy over the past couple of days who disappeared. We got the word, hey, you know what? I'm just going to hang back for 48 hours,
There's
Donald.
a word for it.
You take care of this. He put out a tweet early on attacking Donald Trump, saying he was offended. They then leaked to the press that they were shocked, flabbergasted, horrified. Again, I'm going to actually quote Paul Krugman here. Who could have been shocked by what you saw on Friday? Please, Republicans.
I was shocked.
Don't insult. No, but I'm just saying Republicans that are saying, oh, my God, I thought he was an upright, moral, preacher.
Yeah.
I mean, please, just stop. So I think Mike Pence is a perfect weather vane in middle America. He sort of darted away from him for the past couple of days and let the press know how deeply offended he was. And the second the debate was over, there's a statement, I'm shocked, stunned, deeply saddened. The second the debate's over, put up the tweet, yay!
I'm standing by.
Yay, you win! What are your reactions,
I wonder how many
Mark
Republicans
Halpern?
do that too, Mark.
Look, I think he accomplished three things, which, given the state of the campaign, not only after the tape on Friday, but leading up to that, are significant. One is he's energized the Republican base. There's no doubt that he said a string of things last night to her face that will get a lot of people energized. As Willie said, that's not a majority, but he needs to at least get that base back. Two, he's got his running mate apparently back on board. I came here from St. Louis last night to go to North Carolina today with Mike Pence. Having Pence back out on the trail, that was hanging in the balance. That's a key thing to have accomplished. And finally, inside his campaign, they are now confident, energized, excited, which was not the case over the weekend. They were worried. He had, as you said, best debate performance. He showed a lot that he didn't have in the first debate. But here's what he's not accomplished. I think hanging in the balances, will people today come out against him the way they did over the weekend? I think that's still possible, including some big names. Two is, how does he find an electoral college path?
Yeah.
He didn't have it before Friday. He still doesn't right now. But if he can consolidate Republicans, he can get back to being plausible and then hoping for some revelations about Hillary Clinton or a strong third debate performance.
Yeah, and I think, Mika, nobody suggests this morning at this table that he's somehow tightened the race electorally. What he's done is he's saved his campaign to fight another day. So what was your overall takeaway of everything?
I still think it's possible that he doesn't win. I will say that a couple of things happened that I'm still trying to get through here. The media completely overreached. Republicans completely overreached. I just don't understand why any of the people who were denouncing Donald Trump vehemently and even pulling their support are shocked now. What?
What do you guys mean?
No,
like
his
that
statements are
what do you
horrible.
mean?
What I mean is those statements were horrible. There are many more available to you.
To be like that, or what?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
No, I'm just saying why.
He said
I agree with you.
He said he wanted to have us. Hold on. This is the same man who told Howard Stern he wanted to have sex with a dead princess because he liked her skin.
What?
Are you really shocked?
Okay, well,
I mean, come on. Who could be shocked?
My point last night was that Hugh Hewitt was on, and I don't like to talk about people in their absence, but he was never Trump, and then he was really, really for Trump, and then he pulled his support over the weekend. And I asked him the same question you guys are posing. I think that people that were never for him aren't shocked because this was the character of the man that they could never get behind. And then people that were always for him either didn't know what you guys were talking about.
No,
but it's
that's
people
pathetic,
they knew.
Nicole. That's pathetic.
No, me, I was never.
All this information's out there.
Really?
It's baked in the cake. Really, yes.
Okay.
Do a little
Just
Google.
asking. Okay, I'll check the Google.
Do a little Google. This guy says a lot of things like that.
Okay.
He gets people to laugh.
I never heard
he gets
the
effect.
P word. I never heard him say.
You didn't hear him say that in New Hampshire? Were you asleep during his New Hampshire rally?
Must have been asleep.
Okay.
He actually has said that in.
If I could just finish what I'm saying, because you do need to actually Google him, okay? And so do key Republicans who endorsed him and then pulled their endorsements last night, like you were so shocked and appalled. This is what put you over the edge. This, you're pathetic, you're weak, you're spineless. And now you're going to have to come back potentially. But what I wanted to say is that I was horrified at how, well, I mean to be shocked, to think this is the first thing he said.
Again, I hate to again, I hate to
and
again.
Media, get off your high horse. Republicans, get off your high horse. Clinton campaign, please God,
oh my God,
get off your high horse. Okay?
If I were the Clinton campaign, I would bite my tongue.
Cancel each other out.
Anytime
Again.
the topic comes up. But
I was horrified
I
at
will
how
say
penetrating
again,
his attacks were. I was horrified. He teed up the whole day to go there, and he went there. It was savage.
I hate once again to bring up Paul Krugman, but I think Paul Krugman, he tweeted it out yesterday. He's absolutely right. Republicans acted shocked on Friday.
News anchor
And they acted shocked because he was behind.
Right.
If you were 10 points ahead, they would have said the same thing. Oh, well, you know, my wives and daughters are upset, but at the same time, they know Donald Trump's going to protect. We've been through this for like a year and a half. And they pick Friday when he's down in the polls.
This is who they nominated.
Right, I mean,
Mika.
so, you know, there's a wonderful line by James Baldwin where he says, civilizations aren't ended by wicked people, they're actually ended by the spineless.
That's
I agree with
what
that.
we see happening here.
So I agree, so I want to make two distinctions.
Every
right?
level.
One distinction is that you're right about the politics, right, everything you said. Last night, but I was horrified because I saw the slow death of democracy by 1,000 cuts of the stupid and the vile. So there's one thing to talk about the politics itself, but when we talk about the state of our country and the state of American politics, Donald Trump represents the bottom. The bottom.
Really?
To me, in the sense that
he's the only one?
No. I'm just saying
Okay.
he represents. He's
Just
the
checking.
exaggerated indication, right, of what the state of American politics actually is.
You sound like Republicans talking about Bill Clinton in 1992.
I was confused, actually. Who are you talking about? Mark Halperin?
Mika, if there's no difference between what Donald Trump was revealed to say on Friday and past statements, why did Melania put out a statement denouncing what he said?
Because there was some massive reaction, and it was a hot mic, so it was something new. But if you look at any of his interviews with shock jock Howard Stern or anything that he said on The Apprentice,
none of them involve bragging about violence. None of them do.
Some of them involve bragging about his daughter. Some of them involve bragging about being a. I don't want to like compete with you about how much I know about horrific, gross statements that Donald Trump has said. But I have to tell you, for everyone to be so shocked, and yet Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton, for some reason, get a pass on these things, which, look, I want Hillary to win. I really don't want to have this conversation at all, but people have to come down to earth.
The fact is, they have had a pass from polite society. Come down to earth. They've had a pass from polite society for decades. They just have.
For
and
actions that are on record. I'm not talking about the women who showed up last night. I'm talking about the actions that are on record in the Oval Office.
So, Willie, I guess the question is, if for these Republicans that scurried away and now may be forced to come back, if Donald Trump were up by 10 points, would they have ran away on Friday? I think that's the point that we're making. They're such hypocrites. They scurry away when he's behind. And you watch, if he gets 5 points ahead, they'll come back. Well, Donald said he's sorry, you know.
I had some of the same conversations and interviews on TV that Nicole had with people who flipped. And I said, where were you last December when he called for a ban on all Muslims entering the United States of America? That didn't offend you, but this said, that's not a defense of what he said in the tape Friday. That's a question to these people of, you didn't know all this was coming? You didn't know all this was there. What I do think is different, the distinction here is what he's talking about on that tape is physically grabbing a woman and using his star power to go at somebody, to kiss them if they want to be kissed or grab them. Who am I talking about the tape? Donald Trump.
Right.
What he's saying on the tape. So that's the distinction people make, is that you're physically going at a woman, you're physically assaulting a woman. That's different than being creepy and talking about if a girl's an 8 or a 10 or a 4 or whatever she is.
You know, and I want to follow up on something you said too. I mean, go back to the Muslim ban. Go back to what he said about Mexicans. Go back to the denial of knowing who David Duke was.
Right.
That wasn't enough to offend them. Like, I can say, and it's all in transcript, I said 2 months before the first Republican vote was cast that I couldn't vote for him because of the Muslim ban. These guys have stayed with him and have continued to stay with him, and they're fine with banning over 1 billion Muslims from coming into the United States. They're fine with all of these other things he says. And then on Friday, they get an Access Hollywood tape, and suddenly
they're surprised.
They're moralistic about it. Their chance to be moralistic passed a long
I remember speaking to camera, to Paul Ryan and other Republican leaders going, guys, this isn't going to end well for you. Where's your spine? And to the point where you said stop. You need to stop saying this again and again and again.
Well,
but
you
where
just said
was
it
it?
1,000 times.
Did they really think this was going to get better? Did they really think?
You know what James Baldwin said? Mika, you've said it 1,000 times.
But I mean,
see, you all read that. Y'all read that.
You know, but what's interesting though is that
been there.
So you have Republicans, you have some Republicans who are trying to claim the moral high ground by condemning him for being, which they can't do.
They just can't.
And then the irony, of course, is that you have certain evangelical leaders who are saying that although he doesn't share our values, we're still supporting him. So Jerry Falwell Jr., Tony Perkins, right? Ralph Reed, right? So you have this really interesting kind of confusion about what constitutes the kind of human being we require in the Oval Office.
And the problem is, last night people were looking at two human beings that they didn't want in the Oval Office.
Okay.
It's unbelievable. So some key reactions after the debate on Twitter. Eric Erickson, I may not care for Trump, but he beat Hillary tonight fair and square, even with Martha Raddatz trying to defeat him. Britt Hume, Donald Trump won this debate, not overwhelmingly, but clearly enough that he lives to fight another day. Lewd tape begins to fade. John Avlon, and again, these are all people that are not fans of Donald Trump. Top line, Trump doesn't really apologize for tape, disses Pence, threatens to jail opponent, admits zero taxes. Hillary doesn't put him away. Frank Luntz, Donald Trump's highest moment when he held Hillary liable for emails and called for a special prosecutor. Chuck Todd, Trump, and this is really the bottom line of this entire conversation for those of you at home that are trying to keep score with what exactly is going on here.
Cool.
Trump has made life more miserable for swing state GOPers who want to bolt on him. His base is going to love this performance tonight, and that is the takeaway of debate 2. Did he gain another vote that he didn't have before the debate? I don't think so. Did he pick up a state? Is he going to go up in polls? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But the thing we do know is he's made Republicans' lives more miserable across America. And he has absolutely no problem, Mika, declaring a war on the Republican Party. In fact, I think he kind of likes it.
I think Hillary should play the woman card and just say, I've propped up all these men like you, all my life. Let's just move over.
All right, still ahead on Morning Joe.
Let's get a woman in there.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.